if I told you that it's not your 9 to 5 job, but rather your routine that's keeping you unhappy? And the secret is not to quit your job, but rather to implement just this one method. Hi, loves. Welcome back to another episode of Not Overthinking a Podcast. I'm Elizabeth, your host, and today we are talking about the secret to building a life you love while working your 9 to 5. So grab your comfort drink and get ready to take some notes. Our quote of the day is, I refuse to work 8 hours for a company only to go home and do no work on myself. And that is definitely going to come into play in this episode. I used to work a very soul-sucking 9 to 5 job, and I would think to myself, is this really what life is all about? Until I realized that I had two choices. I could either complain about my circumstances or I could change it. So instead of coming home and watching Netflix till I had to go to bed, I realized that I needed to stop doing things so mindlessly as an escape of my unhappiness that I thought was coming from working my 9 to 5 job. It wasn't until I decided to implement the 3 days in one method that I was finally able to take control of my life. And in doing so, I built an impactful brand, I caught the attention of billion-dollar companies, and I started a YouTube channel. I created a life that I was proud of, and I'm going to teach you how exactly to do the same. First things first, you have to get clear on what your goals are. What is it that you're craving and that you feel like you're missing out on from working your 9 to 5 job? This list of goals, this list of things that you want will guide you in how best to structure the 3 days in one method for you. So whether you're craving more you time, more money, maybe you're craving a healthier lifestyle or you're craving a leadership position, write down what it is that you want and you think will bring you fulfillment. And then we will find time in our day to enact that. These are the things that I did to take control of my life, to get back my time, and to make the most of my 9 to 5 life. So number one, that is having a morning routine. It is so important to start your day off with you time. Even if it's an extra 15 minutes for you, 30 minutes, hour, whatever you can commit to, do that for yourself, because you don't want to just roll out of bed and then give yourself to other people. You want to be able to have time to reflect and set your intention for the day in order for you to give your best self to other people. In order for you to be a pleasant person, you have to start your days with you. So that is the first section of the 3 days in one. That is the 5 to 9. Even if you're not waking up at 5 a.m., figure out how you can wake up a little bit earlier to start your morning with you. This is where your planner will come into play. So you're writing down your most important priority for the day, the thing that if this gets done, the rest of the day will be fine. Even if it's something that you can't finish in the day, you can use the Pomodoro method, which is determining how much time you want to give it in the day. So say it's a book, right? Obviously you might not be able to finish a whole book in one day, but you can read 30 minutes of that book and then be able to check that off in your planner. I loved and still do love using my mornings to multitask. So while I'm eating my breakfast, I tend to watch YouTube videos that teach me something, and I'll go into this more in a little bit, but just take note that multitasking, habit stacking, that's going to be really important when building your dream life. Number two is your fitness routine. Your body will outlast any job. So make time for that fitness, that health component of your life. This is how I did it when I was working because my fitness goals were super important to me. I always packed a healthy lunch. I meal prepped. And I started my mornings off with that high protein breakfast so I was satiated until lunch. Especially at a desk job, you will have people with snacks and you'll have people around you offering you food, and you have to be like actually satiated and be committed to your nutrition goals. So I would have to set boundaries in that way, and I would deny a lot of yummy treats, and I would just say, no, I have my meal prep, thank you. So meal prep your lunch. On your lunch breaks, get a walk in. Even if it's 15 minutes of your lunch break or a lap around the parking lot, find a way to get movement in on your breaks. Your actual fitness routine, how many times are you going to go to the gym or yoga or whatever the sport it is that you want to do. Plan it out, make time for it. The moment you write it down, the moment it becomes more achievable. So get clear on when it is that you want to go, whether it's in the morning or at night. You have to plan accordingly. And there's always time to go to the gym, maybe not every single day, but just find a routine that you can actually stick to. And if it's really hard for you to get motivated to do so, there is ClassPass, which is where you can take fitness classes, any fitness class you want. Find a way to stay consistent with your gym routine. And there are gyms that are open 24 hours, so that's not an excuse either. Next, we have creativity and hobbies. With creativity comes asking good questions. A lot of the people who think that they're not creative are just not asking questions. So say that there's something that you want to learn but you don't know how. For example, starting a YouTube channel. Maybe that's something that you're curious about, but you just don't think you have the creativity or the willpower to do it. So then you would ask yourself, how can I start YouTube? How can I start making videos? What can I record? When you ask questions, your brain wants to help you find the answers. Versus when you say, I can't do that or that's too hard, your brain is accepting that as a statement and there's no need to look for solutions. So frame your curiosity as questions, get creative. Once you ask the questions, you'll be able to hone more in on your creativity. When you get an idea, write it down. Do not neglect it. Don't be like, yeah, I'll think about it later. Write it down in the moment. I remember I heard Taylor Swift just has Apple Notes where she writes down every lyric she thinks of in that exact moment. Even if she uses it or doesn't, it allows more ideas to flow. Honor your ideas, honor your curiosity, and lean into that. And that's going to help you decide the next course of action that you want to take, the next hobby that you want to do, or the next passion project that you want to start. And another component of that creativity is making extra income. So we're now going to talk about finances and side hustles. I remember when I was working my 9 to 5, I really wanted to make an extra $2,000 a month. I put that question down. How can I make an extra $2,000 a month? Why? Because that would cover my rent and more. So I just wanted to be more comfortable. I wanted to have more financial freedom. After writing that down, I was like, okay, what can I do? I made a list of ideas of what I could do. Can I start a small business? Can I sell my clothes? Can I make YouTube videos and actually make money from it? I picked the ideas that I felt most called to. And this is where you again use that 3-day-in-1 method. You pick something and you dedicate your time to learn more about it and to perfect your craft. So I decided to start a YouTube channel and make TikToks about my 9 to 5 job. Literally on my lunch breaks, I would edit. Before work, I would film my morning routine. I would get up literally at 4:30 a.m. I would record myself going to the gym, then going to my job, would edit on my laptop at my lunch break. And then when I got home from work, I would continue editing. I also started my own small business, which is Girl Gains. We connect gym girls on college campuses and host a variety of fitness events for them. In doing that, I was like, okay, where do I even start? I need to create an LLC, network, and figure out marketing, XYZ. So I used my commute time to listen to podcasts. I would have 15-minute breaks during my job where I would take 10-minute calls to network. And then when I would get off of work, sometimes I would quickly change into professional clothes and go meet with an advisor or a business mentor. I did hire a business mentor to help me with my job. So networking, learning, trusting that you have an idea that you need to act on. And I literally felt sometimes like I was living a double life because I was working at my medical job and then on the weekends I hosted an event in LA with like 100 people. Gymshark sponsored it and it was just so crazy that I was able to have such an impact even though I had a 9 to 5 job. And then with that experience of editing YouTube videos and TikToks, I was able to grow my brand, but then I was also able to sell my editing services. So that is also where I was able to make extra income. I gained social media clients, I started social media managing, and also growing my small business. So even if things don't seem super clear in the moment, you don't know where it's going to take you, that calling is what you need to follow, and you just need to be so curious and open-minded and believe in yourself. If you have struggled believing in yourself, I would listen to motivational podcasters and even just listen to podcast interviews. And sometimes I would only stay to listen to the person's story about like they started from rock bottom, they failed so many times, and they were working a job and all these things. It just gave me the motivation and the encouragement to keep going and trust in my own journey. Read people's biographies and learn about how to develop resilience. Realize that people don't have things handed to them on a silver platter. They make the most of what's in front of them, and you can too. I really love Mel Robbins. Ali Abdaal is great for like productivity and organization. Leila Hormozi is really one of my favorite business owner entrepreneurs as well. That is a way to surround yourself with the people that you want to be more like. If you are not quite sure what it is you want to do, what you want to pursue, but you know you want to make extra money, learn how to invest. I know this is a word that scares a lot of people. It didn't sit right with me that we weren't taught finances in school. What is investing? What's a Roth IRA, 401k? What the heck is that? Again, I just used so much of my free time. I'm like, I need to learn. I started reading every single day. I would read before bedtime. That was my 5 to 9 routine. I read 10 pages a day, and the first financial book I started with was The Psychology of Money, and then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I honestly just talked to people. Learning is just something that we always can do every single day with every single interaction. I worked as a medical assistant, and even when I was getting so fatigued with the job, I was like, this job has something to teach me. Even if I don't want to be here, I can learn from this moment, and I can learn from the person in front of me. So I started talking to my patients, asking questions. I made it almost like a game or an objective to learn something new about a person every single day. I remember I was talking to a patient. I don't even know how it got started, but I was just curious and I leaned into that. And she taught me about a Roth IRA. And that is an investment account that will literally guarantee that you can be a millionaire at a certain age as long as you invest money every month. So definitely recommend watching my finance video if you want to learn more. Also, make sure that you're saving your money. Make sure you're saving your paychecks. You do not want to live paycheck to paycheck. Investing is so much better than purchasing. Investing into things that are going to have a long-term effect, investing in resources, courses, etc., rather than things that are just going to be a quick purchase. And I know, especially when you're so drained and feeling hopeless about your job, then it's easy to just buy things so quickly, buying makeup and things that are just not gonna last you. But of course, allow yourself to buy things and, spoil yourself from time to time, but be intentional about it. So set aside money for yourself that you can have as spending money, and then make sure that you're taking a portion of your paycheck and putting that directly into savings. A high yield savings account is also a good way to just make extra money. If you're putting your money in the savings, you might as well put it in a high yield savings account because you get more interest from it every month. It's a lot higher interest than a typical bank, and you can use that as your spending money. With increasing your income and improving the quality of your life, it is so important to set boundaries in your job. Like I said, you don't need to entirely quit in order to have a happy life. Sometimes it just comes down to setting boundaries. Are you letting your boss overwork you? I would not work overtime. Sometimes I would take one for the team occasionally, but I didn't want to stay after work longer than I had to, and I made that clear, and I made sure that I was a good worker and I got my stuff done, but I was not going to be taken advantage of in that way. So my bosses knew, and they respected that I needed to leave like pretty close to closing or when my shift ended, and they were okay with that. But it's because that I set that tone in the beginning. I was a good worker, like I said. So I got all my things done, and the things that, didn't get done, they got done the next day, and I was a responsible worker. But nonetheless, set your boundaries. Do not let your bosses walk all over you. Learn how to say, I have to go. Since I started making more money, I stopped working on Fridays. So I just worked 4 days a week. And let me tell you, not working on Fridays, oh my gosh, that made the biggest difference. I was like, I get a 3 day weekend all the time and I'm chilling. And then I got more time to work on my passions and my business and everything else. It started as me working a half day on Friday, and then I took it out. And even if you have to lie, let it be that. If you're like, hey, I started taking a class at this college, I can't work on Fridays. Okay, lastly, rely on your social support system and do not wait for weekends to have fun. I would reach out to my friends to hang out on the weekdays after work. I remember me and my roommate, we would go and we would cold plunge in the ocean after work, and it made us feel like, wow, we actually can do things after work. Like, your day doesn't end when you get off of work. It could literally start. It is all about your mindset and the way you view your day. That's why it's so important to live the 3 days in one. What new day can you create after work? And there's this interesting quote that actually made me realize that this was possible. Was, you can start your day at any time. You can start your day over at any time. And I chose to start my day again when I got off of work. I didn't see it as the end of the day. Reach out to your friends, rely on them. They're probably working a 9 to 5 too. And when you can share time together, when you guys can find the fun on weekdays, that is where you will realize, like, this is what I was craving. I was just craving more social time, and that is so possible. If you feel like your social life isn't the best, then I have another video about that, about how to build a social life. But I also think ClassPass is really good for that because you're going to be surrounded by people who care about their fitness and their health, and it's a class environment, so I find that more people are open to conversation. There's like so many groups, especially in San Diego. I don't know how it is where you're at, but there's a run club, there are pottery clubs, dance classes, just communities that are open to everyone. Find a group that you can be a part of and embrace during the weekdays. So the key is to get clear and identify what it is that you're craving and learn how to build that in your 9 to 5 life, around your 9 to 5 life, using the 3 days in one method. So you have your morning routine, your actual work day, which you can take advantage of your breaks and your lunch break, and then you have after work, which is where your day can also just begin. To summarize, the things that helped me and I know will help you is having a morning routine, having a fitness routine, getting creative and embracing your ideas, learning something new every day and in every interaction, and using your curious questions to help you develop your side hustle or grow your income. Also, rely on your support system and don't wait for the weekends to have fun. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helped you, and if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy this one, so go watch. And until next week, see you!